Welcome, everyone. We are live. Oh, yes, we are. Mhm. On a very serious note this morning, what are you anchored to? You see, if you watch plants, especially the vines, the runners, like my hops, it's firmly rooted in the ground. Oh, yes, it is. But it has reached out its fronds and it is anchored to my patio furniture. Oh, yes, indeed, it is. If you watch squash or you watch melons or pumpkins, they have this they're little tiny curly fronds. To us, they're not very strong because they break easily, but if you watch them, it's like they have a mind of their own. They anchor themselves to something so that they have a secure way to grow. That's what they do, right? The reason why the anchor is important. Look at boats, eh? Look at boats. They go out to sea and you drop anchor so that the boat remains where you put it in spite of, you know, how the waves move. They undulate back and forth, back and forth. They just rock with this rhythm. That's what happens when you go to the pier, the marina. The boats are anchored. Lovely, Liza. Now, in your life, my life, what are you anchored to? If something is happening to you, if you are going through something, what keeps you secure? What's keeping you secure? Let me tell you something. It's not your best friend. Even though it's nice to be able to pick up the phone and call someone, it's not them. What if they are unavailable? Then what? What if there isn't anyone you can call? What are you anchored to? The reason I am asking you this question is because there's a lot going on in the world. Mentally, a lot of people are hurting. Do you understand? Mentally, a lot of people are in pain. And sometimes the first thing they say is, no one is there for me. I can't turn to anyone. You see, our whole existence, we are taught to turn outside, to look to someone to assist you, right? Now, don't get what I'm saying twisted. When you are going through what you're going through, we're going to encounter people. We just are. And those people are moved. They're moved by you to assist. Now, they're moved by you to assist them because of what you have anchored yourself to. Okay? I know growing up, my grandfather and my father would say, especially my dad, because he's an identical twin. They rolled around in the same sack, people, but they're born one at a time. So my father always said, you've got no one in the world but yourself. And my granddaddy always said, "Ah, You can only rely on you. I never understood that because my grandfather went through a very great abandonment at a very young age. Severe abandonment. His mother died and his father was like, what? I am up out of here. Abandonment. And a lot of what people say is, humans are community based, and we are. We like to hang out together, we laugh together, we eat together. That is fine, but that should not be your foundation. Why not? Because what if your friend says, I don't want to be your friend anymore? What are you going to do? Is your life going to be over? Well, then you're anchored to the wrong thing. You anchor yourself to something that does not change. You anchor yourself to something that is symbiotic for you, meaning it knows and it will feed you in those times of trial. You anchor yourself to something that is not man or man-made. Why? Listen, I want you to grasp what I'm saying today. I'm not saying you shouldn't have friends. That's not what I'm saying to you. I am saying to you, friends are perfectly fine. But there has to be a place within yourself that you can turn to strengthen yourself. Yeah, you've got to be able to turn within yourself. Well, of course, it's the principles. Of course, it's the law. We've got to be able to turn inward at any given time. And trust me, some of us are really going through it. Now, I don't want you to get caught up in spite either. Spite is dangerous. Why is spite dangerous? Because if you are holding the spite, even though you think you are directing it to someone, let me explain what spite is. So if you say you're having a hard time and someone comes along and says, yeah, but there's a way that you can get through this. And you say, oh yeah, well, you've never dealt with this. I wish you would have to suffer like this to understand what it was like. That is spite. To want someone to suffer with you is spiteful. Why? Because you know that it doesn't feel good. You know how tough that thing is to bear, but yet you want to inflict it upon someone so they can be with you. When you do that, remember the principle of correspondence. As within, so without. You are the one carrying it, so you have to bear the brunt of it, not the person you are looking at. See, this is how we deceive ourselves. We are looking on the outside, feeling what we feel on the inside, and expecting that person to crumble because we feel what we feel and we're looking at them. When in actuality, what you are holding in your bosom will affect only you. Trust me, I learned that. Oh, I learned that. Right? So this is why when you anchor yourself to the principles tell you, listen, you're going through it right now. Look at the effect. What's the cause? This is what the principles say to you. What is the cause of this that you are dealing with right now? And the principles will tell you, as within, so without. The principles will say to you, it is your inner attitude. Change your perspective of this thing. There's a little tiny scripture that says, I count it all joy. Yeah, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you take pleasure in punishment. It doesn't mean that you take pleasure in suffering. That's not what it means. I count it all joy means you look at your situation, you say, wait a minute, this can't rule my life. Let me change my mental attitude here. And you start to change your mental attitude. And lo and behold, because you have changed your mental attitude, how did you change your mental attitude? You changed your mental attitude by looking at the present effect you are dealing with. What is it? Is it loneliness? Is it abandonment? Is it pain? What? So when you start to look at it, you say, well, I feel abandoned. I feel like nobody wants me. Oh, and then the principles say to you, you feel as if no one wants you? Is that how you want to feel? Or do you want to feel wanted? And you say, well, I want to feel wanted. So if you were wanted, what would be that evidence? First of all, you look at not being wanted looks like you don't have anybody around you that cares for you. So being wanted would mean you have people around you that care for you. So if you had people around you that cared for you, what would your attitude be? What would your attitude be? The moment you mentally engage in what your attitude would be if you were wanted, you flip a switch. You literally go from that mental anguish to relief. But you see what we do? We feel the sting of abandonment. And we get so caught up in the sting of the abandonment that now we're carrying the sting of abandonment. And it hurts. So now we're walking with the hurt. We're seeing the world through the lens of the hurt. The hurt that you feel is telling you where your mind is and what you are looking at. That's what the hurt is telling you. And what do? We fully engage with the hurt, thereby doing what? Exacerbating the hurt, making it bigger. See, this is the part of the cycle that nobody tells you, that nobody shows you. There's nothing wrong with tears and crying because we're human and we feel. We feel. Oh, yes, we feel. But in your feeling, you must remember that what you are feeling is telling you where you are mentally. And because it is showing you where you are mentally, you have this window of opportunity to decide, look, I know this stuff hurts. Yes, it does. But you know what? I'm not going to walk with hurt. What would it be like? Or what would it be like? What would it feel like if this situation were different? The moment you engage with that, the pain begins to wane. The pain begins to lessen. Don't come for me this morning. I'm not about oppression Olympics. I keep telling you there's a reason why I don't tell you what I've been through. Because what good is it? You knowing what I've been through does not make what you are going through any better. It just makes you feel like you're not alone. But you are not alone. You need to know that part. You see, because sometimes when we say, yeah, but they came through it, why should that be something that makes you feel you can come through it? You need to know that you can. What if 100 people did not come through it? You're going to be 101. So then that would mean you are anchoring yourself to the experience of someone else to inspire you to say, well, if George can do it, so can I. That is not the way. If you are going through something today, you need to know that as within, so without. If I look at this situation and I say, wait a minute, I don't want this situation. You look at that situation, you name it, you say, what? I'm dealing with this? No. What would my life be like if I was not dealing with this? What's one thing I would be doing if I was not dealing with this? And you begin to see what that one thing is. And you begin to rehearse that one thing that you would be doing if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. You rehearse that. And then the pain ends up being some way back there in the back of your mind. And then you begin to see your exterior circumstances. You go, holy cow, what a coincidence. I needed this to happen, and there it is. The moment we engage with the pain that we feel, like it's so visceral, it really is. You feel it in your whole body. You feel that abandonment, you feel that rejection, you feel it. But if you can remember that a person is entitled to their preferences. Oh, I like the color purple. I like the color blue. If you wear yellow and I say, oh, I don't like yellow, what does that have to do with you? It is just my opinion. So if I say I don't like you, what does that have to do with you? They're just telling you where their mental attitude is. So you see, they're not rejecting you. Oh, it looks like they are because I don't like you. I don't want to be around you. They are not rejecting you. They're telling you there's something within them that causes them to not like this thing. It is within them. But when someone says, oh, I don't like you, what's the first thing oh, how could you not like me? I'm so nice. I'm so cute. How could you not like me? Because it has nothing to do with you. So the sting of hearing, I don't like you, put it into perspective. They are showing you their inner selves. Just like you show the world your inner self. And I've been told, Angela, that is cold. Angela, that's insensitive. I'm saying to you, your experience is valid. Why is it valid? Because it is showing you yourself. It is showing you what's happening. Someone said to me, but I didn't walk down the street and ask for that. We do not ask for things by name. When we engage with an emotion habitually, we are asking for the same energy of that thing. Joy is not limited to just, yay, I got money. That's not joy. Joy is not limited to one experience. Joy is the knowing that you can free yourself from any situation. That's what it is. It's the knowing. If you say, well, I got peace. I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. Yeah. If you say you've got peace, if you walk down the street, you encounter what? Peaceful situations. Other things that show you peace. If you have angst or anxiety within, you encounter anxiety-filled situations. It doesn't matter what the situation is. What matters is the feeling behind that situation. So we don't ask for things by name. We ask for things by feeling. We ask for things by feeling. I want to feel loved. I want to feel accepted. I want to feel appreciated. What does that feel like? To generate the feeling. Because right now you're in a feeling, are you not? Isn't that funny how we say, oh, you're all in your feelings? When you feel something, depending on how that thing makes you feel, you will act. So if you feel as if you've been hurt by someone, you feel wounded. Now, I want you, in your vast reservoir of memories, to find in your mind's eye where something was injured and it just, there's every, dolphins will do it, right? They'll come fetch you and take you where you're going to help them. But most animals, if they are wounded, they attack you, do they not? Why? Because they see themselves as vulnerable, so they have to protect their vulnerability. That is why. We do it. So if you feel wounded or hurt, you feel vulnerable. And if you feel vulnerable, you will be aggressive to protect yourself, whether verbally or physically, but you will be aggressive. So the way you feel is what prompts you to act. So if you're walking with the pain, instead of looking at the pain and hearing what it's saying to you, we do it with our bodies. If you have a pain somewhere, you're like, oh my God, I have a pain. What do? Mask it. You take a pill. You mask the pain. You do not listen to what it is saying. Is it pain or is it referred pain? Is it pain radiating coming from somewhere else to a particular spot? You must recognize the type of pain you are dealing with because it's telling you something. Your pain is not there to say, stupid, look at you. You in the same situation again. When are you gonna learn? Oh, wait, never. That's not what your pain is doing, my friends. What you are presently feeling is telling you about you. It is showing you the root of your problem. It is showing you the hidden pattern that has been running your life for a long time. That is why you count it joy, because now that you see it, you can't unsee it. So what are you gonna do with it? See, when whenever I get into a situation and I say, oh my God, Angela, are you doing this again? Wait, I go, wait, again? And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this thing for a while. Aw, shoot. Well, thanks, because now I don't have to keep repeating this cycle. No, I don't. And what's the first thing you do? You turn within and you look. You look at what this thing has been causing you to do. What behavior has it been causing you to do? And you say, you know what? I don't want that behavior anymore. And then you say, What behavior would I prefer? What would I prefer to be doing? And you turn yourself and you start to answer that question. Because when you turn to answer that question, naturally, you will put down the pain because you can't hold two of them at the same time. You will put down the pain because now you're fully engaged with the relief. Well, I'd be doing this. And you get, seriously, if you don't judge yourself, you'll get excited. What happens when you get a little bit excited, when you laugh or when you smile? Natural pain relievers are released in the body. I wonder why. Because of the principle of correspondence and the principle of cause and effect. Because you have changed the mood, the effect is a change in your biochemistry. But if you keep entertaining the pain, well, then the biochemistry will always have to match the pain you feel. This is why your pain is valid. This is why what you're feeling and going through is valid, because it serves a purpose. That purpose is not to wallow in it, because what you give your attention to expands. You doubt me? Don't water that house plant. Don't talk to it. Just leave it alone. Don't even think about it. What's going to happen to that house plant? It will wither and die. Why? Because you're not paying it no never mind. That's why. So if you turn your attention towards what your existence would be like if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be, if that pain lessens, what would you be doing? See, the moment you give that your attention, your physical body begins to release chemicals to match it. The same way when you wallow in it, on the other side, your body releases the chemicals to match that. So this is the subtle art of mental transmutation, aka alchemy. But when we think of alchemy, we think of changing lead into gold. How limited we are sometimes. Alchemy doesn't, yes, physiologically, sure. Psychologically, turn your pain into relief by looking at the relief, by beginning to mentally experience the relief, the sigh of relief. If you watch, count how many times a day you do this. Count how many times a day you do that. Do you know what you're doing? In traditional Chinese medicine, when someone sighs a lot, it means qi. There's a particular thing that is stuck. And it's usually the qi of the liver. Liver moves things in the body up, down, left, and right, all four corners. Okay? That's its job. We say it filters. But look at what that means. It detoxifies. Well, it has to take things from up, it has to take things from down, it has to take things from left to pass through it, to filter it. So it feeds and funnels through the whole body. If a direction is blocked, you might not be able to see the blockage, but your body feels. This is why Dr. Bruce Lipton can say that 95% of what we do is on autopilot, because we don't pay attention, because we just have been doing it so long, we continue to do it. What does that sound like? A habit. So because you've been doing the habit for so long, you stop seeing it. But the body, oh, if you pay attention to the body, it'll tell you everything you need to know. So when you sigh like that, you're trying to move something because it is stuck. So if you catch yourself sighing, ask yourself, wait a minute, what do I feel right there? How do I feel right now? What is that? You ask that question, you'll get the answer. Well, you might be feeling frustrated. You'll feel it. You'll hear it. You're feeling sad. You're feeling this. And you say, oh my goodness, I am. And you'll begin to realize that what you habitually feel is how you habitually behave. So if you anchor yourself to that knowledge, you won't feel as if you are somehow alone in the world, because you will know that, wait a minute, I have to plant seeds of friendship if I want friends. You can't plant seeds of friendship if you say, people just lie and they deceive you all the time. I'm better off alone. You're not planting seeds of friendship, darling. You're planting seeds of loneliness. You're planting seeds of isolation. Because you believe that you can't trust anybody. They're just there to use you. See that inner thought? That inner conversation? That is what keeps us lonely. That is what keeps us separated. And it is only mental. But if you go back to that, and that is your opinion, that is your habitual opinion. So if you look at your life, you will see the shortness, the habitual shortness of your friendships, their lack of longevity. But then you'll see the root cause of your pain, of loneliness and abandonment. Of feeling like you have no one to turn to. You'll see the root cause of it. Because if we listen to ourselves, oh man, this always happens to me. See, I knew this would happen. That is you telling yourself the root. You see, we hear, but we don't listen. But then we'll get up and we'll cry every day because we have no one. All the while ignoring. You cannot ignore it any longer because it will prolong your suffering. And nobody wants to suffer. And the reason why nobody tells you this, we ask ourselves, why is there so much suffering in the world? Because no one tells you how to overcome it. But spitefully, we want others. This is why people say misery loves company. So how are you going to fix it today? Because we're all about the application, are we not? When this thing arises, as it will, they always do, they will show you themselves. That feeling. What is that feeling? Look it in its face if you want to give it a personality. It doesn't have a personality, it's just a feeling. But if you are like me, you give it a personality. You say, oh, who am I looking at today? Like, who are you? And it'll tell you. It tells you, when listen to yourself when you speak. Oh my God. Why is this happening to me again? I hate this. What the? Can I catch a break? See what that says? That's telling you. That's showing you that you're dealing with frustration. Man, nobody listens to me. Nobody cares about me. I might as well not be here. What's the point? They're just going to leave me anyway. See what that is? That is raw pain of abandonment. So then you feel that and you say it, catch it. You say, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. What did I say? What seeds are those? Well, I know the outcome of planting is reaping, and I don't want to reap that. So, if I don't want to reap loneliness, what would it be like if I had a good companion? What would that make me feel like if I had a great companion? Because I already know what this feels like. Ah, it sucks, man. I don't like feeling that gaping void. Nah, I want to fill that with beautiful companionship. The moment you start to engage with the sensation of beautiful companionship, your body chemistry begins to change. But to make something a habit, to habitually feel companionship, you have to keep engaging with it. And then people say to me, yeah, but that takes too long. I still don't have any friends. And what have you done in that instant? You've gone back to what you habitually used to do, thereby reaping the same habitual experiences. You've taken yourself away from the new and put it back on the old. No, keep yourself on the new. Because if you know that something is happening within your body, you're beginning to feel a little better. Those endorphins are beginning to release themselves. And they begin to soothe you and create relief for you. Stay there. Now remember, you can't stay there indefinitely. But what can you do? Habitually do it. Make it a habit of feeling like that. Why? Because as within, so without. You are now beginning to project out of you what is within. So if you're holding on to the, you know what, that really would feel nice, you're going to find people will start to look at you and smile or nod or say, hi. I'm serious. If you hold on to that feeling, that knowing that, wait a minute, if I plant the seed of this thing, what is this thing? This thing is, you know what? What would it feel like if I had a companion? Man, I'd feel special. And the moment you start to say, I'd feel special, something begins to happen in your bosom. It's not gas, but something begins to happen in you. And you say, yeah, that's what I would feel like that, wouldn't I? Can you imagine calling them up and say, hey, girl, what you been doing? I've been thinking about you. Yeah. See, that begins to make you feel better. Now start to do it as a habit. What's a habit? Something you do the same way every time. So start doing that. And then you will find that the feelings of loneliness are going to come back. But when it comes back, put it in its place. Which place is that? Ah, shoot, I've been doing that for so long. Look at how familiar it is to me. Ah, I know, but I'm making this new one familiar now. So I need to spend more time with this one. How you going to spend time with your new man and you still thinking about your ex? You think you can hide that? No, you cannot. So then you are going to spend time in the presence mentally of your new sensation of what would it be like if? Well, you say it'd be like this. Oh, yes, it would be like this. You start to engage with that. You have to spend more time with that. The more time you spend with it, it starts to become your habit. But remember, the old way is going to come back. When it does, it's just because it was there longer. Go back to the new. You will notice the more you go back to the new, the less you go to the old. Soon, You'll be fully engaged in the new, and the old will have subsided. It won't ever leave you, though. You don't have Alzheimer's. Your memories are not being erased. So that's why it won't leave you. It won't leave you because it's mean. It won't leave you because you formed a neurological pathway for it. That's why it's there. But because you now know that, whenever it should come up, you say, oh, look at that old memory. That's nice. I'm over here now. And you go back to the new every time, over and over again, over and over again. And every time you are tempted to say, damn it, where are my friends? This is taking far too long. Remind yourself, you planted these seeds, so the outcome of planting is reaping. I planted it. I'm going to keep planting it because I know I'm going to reap this harvest. And because you know the outcome of planting is reaping, you're going to stay faithful. Why? Because you know you're going to reap the companionship. You're going to reap the friendship. Why? Because you will give birth to it. It will come out of you. You will project that friend right out of you. How will you do it? You're going to go somewhere because you know you're living life, right? Like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. I digress. You're going to birth that friendship. You're going to go somewhere. You're going to meet people. But there's that one person you're going to connect with. You say, whoa, it feels like I've known you forever. Do you know why it feels like you've known them forever? Because you were the one entertaining the feeling of them. You may not know them in their face because you just met them, but there's something you feel because you were the one entertaining that feeling. So we always get the feeling every single time. So today, ending suffering doesn't mean that when I die, it'll get better. That is not what it means. But then you have to stop and ask yourself, who benefits from the suffering? Put that in the back of your mind. Who benefits from that? Let's just let that linger there, because I'm not going to go into it today. Oh, heavens, no. But then ask yourself, who would benefit from the beauty and the peace? You would. Your neighbor would. Oh. So you see, it's not that your feelings are not valid. They are very valid because they serve a purpose. And their purpose is to show you what your habitual mental state is. And so long as you remain in that habitual mental state, you can predict exactly what you're going to experience, what you're going to feel on a daily basis. So make sure that what you are anchored to, that knowing of what you're anchored to. You see, there's a freedom in being anchored, you know. There is? Mm-hmm. Sure, there's a freedom in being anchored. It depends on what you're anchored to. If you're anchored to something that is going to move, that brings about some insecurity. But if you're anchored in the principles, mentalism, the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Correspondence. As within, so without. As above, so below. You got the branches of the roots, right? Branches at the top, roots at the bottom. And they look the same. Because they tell you, see now, we'll go through the rhythm, right? We'll get to rhythm. And we'll talk about the roots in a minute. Because I got to show you how rhythm compensates. So as above, so below, you got the roots and the leaves. Everything moves. Nothing stands still. The roots will always continue to burrow down. You ever tried pulling up something? Those roots are far reaching, aren't they? Okay, remember rhythm. Everything moves, nothing stands still. And it moves through the stage from seed to fruit and back again over and over and over. Now, rhythm, the fruit planted is the fruit reaped, okay? So in the rhythm, the ebb and the flow, rhythm compensates. So if you see the branches at the top and how vast and big and connected they are, well then, you can't have teeny tiny roots at the bottom. You're going to have the same depth, the same vastness of branches and leaves above is going to have that same depth and vastness of root system below. Because it must. It must. As I say, you're not going to have these. If you have giant roots at the bottom and a little teeny tiny thing at the top, the roots aren't doing their job. So this is why and how rhythm compensates. The stuff at the top and the intensity, the vastness of it is going to match what is beneath. As within, so without. See, you have it right there. But let's move on from rhythm, cause and effect. Because that root system is the way it is, it will cause that tree to be strong. And the effect is a great harvest of whatever you've planted that tree as. Mangoes, akis, guavas, it doesn't matter. The root system is feeding the fruit. So your abundance of fruit is directly attributed to what is beneath. So abundance is not just abundance on its own. Abundance is an effect. So the level of your abundance has to match the level of your faith, then your knowing. The intensity is always matched. We always say, bring that same energy, don't we? Or keep that same energy. Isn't that what we say? That's the principle of rhythm. So you had cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. So there's never a time you should say, I don't know. If you are experiencing an effect, you have a cause. And if you have a cause, you're going to bring about the effect. And how do you know what cause and effect will do? Because the cause and effect always have to match. They always are going to match. Which means if you plant corn, you get corn. So whatever that mental attitude is on the inside and the amount of vehemence, like the conviction, your level of conviction is going to match how you act. So if you have a lot of hate, what do you think those words are that are going to come out of your mouth? What do you think? You ever seen somebody frothing at the mouth from their anger? Oh, that should tell you the intensity of their anger then. You see what I'm saying? Why is my child awake at this time to wake up them their chickens? Whew, but he's having a good time. So always that level of intensity is going to match the experience. And then finally we have the principle of gender. Not to be confused with man, woman, boy, girl. Masculine is invisible. It is an idea not yet put into form. So then that would tell you what feminine would be. Feminine is form. So when you are coming up with an idea, that is a seed and you got to plant the seed. Oh, it sounds familiar, isn't it? You ever had somebody say, oh, to plant my seed in you. Hello, what? Power of Christ compels you. Oh, I've had people say that. But you know what? I digress. So that's what it is. The masculine is the seed that must be planted. Because when you plant the seed, you're going to birth it, give it form. So for the seamstress, the masculine is the idea that they sketch out and they cut it out in a pattern. But the dress that they put on, that they embody is feminine. So, my beautiful friends, good God, I did it again today. What are you anchored to? Are you anchored to that knowing, or are you anchored to my feelings? Put your feelings in perspective. They're telling you something. They're not just there. Actually, they're not there to beat you. Your feelings are not there to beat you. Your feelings are the intensity of what you feel. That's the principle of rhythm. The intensity of that pain is telling you something. It's telling you, oh, you're really dealing with this one now, aren't you? Because you feel the intensity of the pain. That tells you your level of conviction to this thing that you hold to be true. Nobody wants me. Whoa. See that? Oh, that's enough to break your heart, isn't it? Yikes. So the next time you feel, look at what it is. Look it in its face. And say, oh, I know what that feeling is. What are you saying to me? You're showing me how I feel about this thing. But I want to make a change in my life. I no longer want to feel that way. If I don't want to feel that way, how do I want to feel then? So if you say you feel lonely, then obviously you want companionship. If you feel hungry, you want to eat, you want to be satisfied. But if you look at everything that you feel, the outcome is always going to be satisfaction or relief. That's always going to be the outcome. Doesn't matter what it is you're feeling. You want the outcome to bring relief. You want the outcome to bring satisfaction. After all, that is why we eat, to satisfy or satiate the hunger. All things go towards satisfaction. Balance the equation for trigonometry or algebra. You're satisfying the equation. All things go towards satisfaction. Look at it and you'll see. I'm going to say one word. Orgasm. What is that? Satisfaction. Look at how you feel when you don't. Everything goes towards satisfaction. So then you turn yourself towards the new thing that you are trying to lay down, the new habit. That new habit will always satisfy itself. Look at any habit. Gambling, sex, drugs, alcohol. Look at any habit. See, those are the habits we think about, but getting up and going to work is a habit. Well, you start at the same time every day. You do the same job every day. Oh, okay. It's a habit. What does the habit always do? The habit always brings about its own satisfaction. You must fulfill the habit. You must satisfy it. Everything leads towards satisfaction. So that's why you don't have to force it. You just have to choose it. Cause and effect. Everything leads towards satisfaction. So whether it is good, bad, or indifferent, it will satisfy itself and you will act out that satisfaction. That is what you anchor yourself to, that knowing. So that when you look at your life, you can say, ooh, I see why I've been doing this because it's a habit. Well, I don't want that habit anymore. I'm going to make me a new habit. And you dedicate your time and your efforts and your energy and your what? Your entire being to making that new habit, because you know that once you make that new habit, it will lead towards the satisfaction of itself. So what work do you have to do other than to remain persistent to make the new habit? But we keep looking for a shortcut. I'm giving you the shortcut. The shortcut is knowledge and how to apply it. I trust that that makes sense to you this day. If it does not, Slide into my DMs and we'll talk about it. Because sometimes we like to talk about our situations. I understand. But I don't need to know your business. I don't need to know your business. I'm just telling you how to get through your business. And it goes for any situation. Whether you want to build your clientele, whether you have a business and people say, oh my God, you're so fantastic. Why is your business not growing? What do you feel about your business? Anyway, let us welcome everyone who's here today. Whew. Sorry, YouTube's. YouTube's looking at me saying, girl, 55 minutes. Jeez. Who's here this morning? Twitter. Oh, well, that's a name I've never seen before. Uh, I don't even know how to say it. It's got some consonants and vowels in weird places. I don't know how to say it. But welcome to the space nonetheless. Oh, it's symmetric. Hey, girl. I haven't seen you in a while. Sugar. Yeah. It's good to see you. It really is so good to see you. And for my, I can't pronounce your name, friend. You know what? I'm going to just call you Sved because that's the beginning letters. Sved. I see you, baby. I see you. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here, and I hope you found it helpful. Who is on fan base this morning? Oh, Lord. You would think we were talking about politics in this room. We got some people in here today. Hello. Rhonda. Hey, I see you. My sweet KZ, I see you too. Oh, Gush and Happy, I see you. Summer Rose, I see you too. My sweet Miss McQueen, I see you. Afternoon Delight, I see you. Hey, Flo Smiles. Aw, you got Hello Kitty. I see you. Moon and Dolphin Duck, I see you. Oracle Treehouse, I see you, darling. Ray Ray is in the house. Oh, Asar. Hello, just popped into Twitter. Wow. Mm. Well, you're going to have to catch the replay, Asar. But we can give a quick recap. I know Big Mike was here. Um, yes. See, we have all of these cool sayings. What you give your attention to expands, right? Or energy flows where attention goes. But do we understand why? These are not just sayings. Why does that happen? Why? It happens because when you give your attention to something, and the way to talk about this is with plants or babies and puppies or relationships. When you talk to a baby, you know, you're cool with it and you giggle with it. You say, oh, you're so sweet. Look at your little cheeks. And you talk to that baby. Those neurons and synapses in their brains begin to fire for communication. Cause and effect is at work. If you don't talk to the baby, right, then those neurons don't fire. Thereby, they don't become wired to communicate. See? The plant, if you water it, it will thrive. Talk to it, it'll blossom and do some sweet things for you. But if you don't water it, it will die. Same for your sourdough. If you don't feed it, it'll die and get all moldy and things. Ew. And nobody wants moldy sourdough starter. So when you look in your life, you will see the evidence of giving your attention to something and having it thrive and blossom, and removing your attention from it and having it wither. It's right there in front of you when you see it. So that's who's here on Fanbase. Oh, honey, I see you. So who's here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter? No, TikTok. Hello. We've got the lovely Liza. We got Big Mike in the house. And we also have Soul of a Man. And we have Sweet Kiki all the way from Facebook. Oh, yes, we do. We kikiing today. I see you, girl. Anyway, I better stop hollering in this house before that chicken doesn't wake up and talking about feed me, Seymour. Right? So, quick recap. What are you anchored to? We anchor ourselves to things that are secure and unchanging. But Angela, I thought everything changes. Not the principles, not the law. They never change, but they create change. So, what's that word for them that scientists call them? Catalysts. They create change without being changed themselves. So, you anchor yourself to the knowing of these two things. You and I are always rehearsing, we're always talking to ourselves. Are we not? Tell me I'm wrong. We're always talking to ourselves, whether inside our heads or we move our mouths, but we're always talking to ourselves. And you see that inner conversation? That inner conversation is the equivalent of rehearsal. What is the outcome of rehearsal? Enactment. Is it not? You don't rehearse those lines unless you plan to get on the stage and act it out. To be or not to be. You wouldn't ever rehearse those lines unless you planned on saying them on stage. This world is a stage, allegedly. Thank you, William Shakespeare. Or whoever he took that from, I don't know. But the world is a stage, and we are always rehearsing. So if you are always rehearsing, what is that thing that you're always rehearsing? That thing that you're always rehearsing is the thing you're always acting out. The second thing is the outcome of planting is reaping. Go back to that inner conversation, that mental attitude. What seeds are you planting? You are going to have to eat that. You're going to have to reap it. Hello. So if you remember those two things and anchor yourselves to those two things, that the outcome of rehearsal is enactment and the outcome of planting is reaping, you now will always look at yourself and you will say, whoa, wait a minute. What am I rehearsing? Who am I cussing out? Why am I cussing out? Why am I crashing out in my head? So if you're crashing out in your head, talking about this bitch, this heifer, oh, I can't stand that broad. Oh my God. If you are doing that in your head, well, you can become a prophet in no time because you'll know exactly what you're going to do on the outside. If you are rehearsing, oh my God, can they see me? Oh my God, I'm such a loser. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. They're going to laugh at me. They don't like me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you gonna act out? Hiding in the corner. Mm, that what you want? So if that is not what you want, pick a new scene to rehearse, my friends. And the more you rehearse that scene, well, you know the outcome of rehearsal. Ta-da! You've now solved the keys to this existence. But don't take my word for it. Observe your own life and you'll see it. Anywho, I love you. I gotta go feed my chickens. He's sleeping with the girls because that's what makes him happy. Yep, it is. And how do I know he's happy? Because I can pick him up and kiss him again. Yeah, my Roo. Because he was mad at me. He's like, don't you dare take me away from my girls. Oh, yeah, he pecked at me. He came for me. And so mommy learned real quick. Let him stay with the girls. Right? Even though they eat all his food and he don't get any. These girls. But you know, they're laying eggs, so they gotta eat more. So, with that, countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2. Wait a minute. You know I'll see you again tomorrow. Right here, YouTube, Facebook. Now, I don't know about TikTok because It is temperamental. Today it'll let me stream. Tomorrow it'll say no. But you know what? We stream anyway. So you might see me on TikTok tomorrow too. But YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, fan base. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. Right here. And we're going to talk about this life and how we change our existence. Yes, so that we can thrive instead of suffering. You'll see me right here. And if you missed today's episode, well, the replays are available. And I know Flo Smiles. Flo Smiles, she's going to have it popping and locking and dropping it, in whether it is shorts or whatever videos, but she knows how to get your attention. Oh, yes, she does. So, thank you all for being here, and I'll see you on the morrow. One. Mwah. I love you.